Hello and welcome to Stuff I Didn't Write My Dissertation on. I'm Kyra and I'm struggling because Emily's not here and she normally does the intro. But today I'm
Yeah.
joined with Jordan from Let's Rewatch It Again. And Jordan always kicks off with a line from what we're discussing. So, what's the line that you picked today, Jordan?
Okay, so mine is three people talking. Losers walk. No, losers talk. No. Losers rhyme.
Mine would be yams. So, with that, you can probably guess what we're talking about. And I know earlier this season we talked about sitcoms, and Jordan and I really like Friends. Obviously, Friends is not without its criticisms, but that's not what we're here to discuss today. In the spirit of the holidays, we're just going to talk about our favorite Friends holiday themed episodes. So, and it wasn't, although we are in the Christmas season as it's December, we didn't put a label on it. We said let's just talk holidays, whether it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday armadillo.
Yes.
What did we like and what didn't we like? So Jordan tasked me with coming up with 6 episodes and I got a whopping 4 because I'm an underachiever.
That's okay. I originally ranked every single one and then quickly realized that the ones that I like a lot less are because they're in seasons 9 and 10. And I mean, that just kind of speaks
Mm,
for itself. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Actually, I'm looking at mine and no,
All right. So, my top five in the ranking is the Holiday Armadillo from season 8.
if you are like Chandler and you've been stuck in a box, Ross tries to teach his son Ben about Hanukkah, and they were out of costumes because Susan dressed up as Santa, so
Mhm.
he was the holiday armadillo, and that's how Ben learned about the Maccabees.
The Maccabees.
What do you like about that episode?
Okay, so first of all, it has one of my favorite coats of Phoebe. I usually love all of Phoebe's coats, like all of her jackets, coats, sweaters. I'm obsessed with Phoebe's outfits. I know Rachel is supposed to be like the fashionista, but more often than not, I want to wear Phoebe's clothes. So for me, her clothing, she has like this patchwork, like silvery, but also like just plain colors of a sweater that she wears, and I'm obsessed with it, and it just like holds a vibe for me. But I really love just the little touch of like Ross trying so hard to like bring his own like personal family culture into Ben's life, and Ben is a little bit too young to really understand like why that's so meaningful for his dad. And it has a lot of really funny moments, like Chandler is trying to become more like Richard. He has a dollar in his hand and he's trying to like hand it off to other people in secret, but he just can't handle the secretness of it. And so like coins fall out of his hand at one moment. And then he gets mad because Ben drops the dollar. And he's like, well, he would have held on to it if his hands weren't so dang small. And like, oh my God, it's so funny. Like I can't. And I don't know. It's just really fun. We find out that Joey is terrified of spiders, but Rachel is not. Just a lot of really cute little moments. It's good. And it's not like a traditional holiday type of episode where there's like presents involved or like some kind of like silly antics like, oh no, it's Christmas Eve, what are you gonna do? Like, don't you have to be claymation to say that, like
It's funny because that one's not on my list.
Mm,
I can quote it. I think it's funny that they somehow, have the holiday armadillo. I think this kind of goes for itself. We are a country where Christmas is the main holiday.
mhm.
And I know that is annoying and frustrating for people who don't celebrate Christmas. And it's not, they feel excluded. So this was a great episode to put a different holiday, a different traditions, different, set of beliefs at front and center.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about Judaism. Well, at the time I didn't, and then I ended up my roommate in college was Jewish, and we actually
Hmm.
bonded a lot over Friends. So you get to learn about something else without being Christmas, Christmas, Christmas.
Yeah. So some of our closest friends are actually Messianic Jews. So they do Shabbat on Fridays. That's like something they do traditionally, like every week. So even though they believe that Jesus is the Messiah, they still follow all the traditions of Judaism. So that's always been cool for me. I haven't known them my whole life, but it's been something that integrated more and more. And honestly, I was introduced to Judaism and Hanukkah from friends. And so just like you're saying, it's a non-traditional episode that brings in something else for that holiday season and really does teach you about stuff, even though we never really get to hear the entire story of the Maccabees.
Yeah.
I feel like I know it better now.
Yeah. And it's not meant to be an educational thing at all. I mean, the premise is Ross is trying to be educational for his son, like provide that resource so his son can learn about his heritage and their traditions. But for a wider audience past Ben, aside from what Adam Sandler's Hanukkah song, you don't know much. And
there is a Rugrats Hanukkah episode where they actually like go back in time and
that's cool.
Like it's the babies doing the whole thing. And a lot of people said that that was something that made them feel represented when they felt like they couldn't find themselves on TV, and taught all their friends about who they were in life. And they were like, oh my gosh, thank you, Rugrats, for making it educational, but also like fun at the same time. Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, that education should be fun, period.
Yeah.
My number 5 that I kind of just came up with, I know I was thinking of 4, and then earlier something just lodged in my brain. It is the one with the routine from I'm doing my season 6.
Yes, correct.
That one's a New Year's holiday. Ross and Monica had a routine and they did it. And the reason why it popped in my head is not because of the routine, which I think is iconic in itself. It's the B plot where Rachel and Phoebe are searching all over the apartment for the present.
Yes.
Wait, is this on your list?
So it's actually number 8 on my list because I only enjoy the B plot and not the other 2 plots. Okay. But yes, their plot, searching for the presents and like, what are we gonna do? And like, blah, blah, blah. And how Chandler is like, well, I want her to see me open the present, and Rachel's like, whatever, Linus. Like,
my favorite part about that is the note, dear losers, did you really think that I would hide my presents like here? And Chandler, I knew they would break you. It popped in my head because this morning I was in my work meeting and the doorbell rings and my husband is just holding up a package that is clearly supposed to be my Christmas present, and he's just pointing it at me and he's pointing to it, and I was like, great, give it to me. And then he just like looked at me and he like ran away. So clearly I am a Rachel in that regard, and I hate the surprise, but also, there's a party that loves the surprise, but I'm like, come on, give me.
See, I actually really enjoy the anticipation before everything arrives, because as soon as all the presents are opened, it's like over, and then what? I open presents really slowly, and actually in our family, we open presents one person, one present at a time, because we haven't always had like a big Christmas of like lots of stuff. And so that makes it last longer, and you just like really just bathe in it, just soak it all in.
No, yeah, that's what my family would do, because we weren't a big family, so there were only 3 of us, me and my mom and my dad. So we would each just go one at a time. And when I was a kid, we each only got 2 presents. Like you can only, it was 2 presents, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It was good. It is exciting.
It's cool. You get to like watch everyone's reaction, and just, I don't know, feels a little more special.
It is. All right. What's number 4?
So mine is the one with Rachel's other sister, Amy.
Is that the godparent one?
Yes, because they're talking about like who would get Emma if Ross and Rachel dies.
Okay. Like I do yoga. Like I do Pilates. I do yoga. That's one of my mom's favorite ones for some reason. And that one's good. It's not on my list, but okay. Sorry. What do you like about it?
Oh, God. I think Amy is the worst person that is so at the same time endearing, because like everything that she says is so incredibly awful, but it's so funny because it's like these are all the things that you would never ever say out loud, and she says no filter.
Yeah,
0. Yeah.
You know what would be great if you guys died, and then and then Ross is just like, thank you,
Amy.
Thank you, Amy. That's the peak energy of someone who has no filter and they don't think before speaking. And yeah, it's incredibly annoying if you're the recipient, but to watch it, it's so funny. And Christina Applegate is top notch.
She's amazing. She's just so funny how she keeps getting mad, like, is it really only these rooms? Yeah, this is the entire apartment. Aren't you a doctor? Like, just like the things that she says is just like so good because it's almost like in a way she's kind of being the audience of like everything that like critics have ever said about the Friends, and she just like says it all with such confidence and such like bravado of like, this should be truth. Like, you should all just understand this.
Mm-hmm.
I also love that she has no idea what Phoebe's name is and keeps thinking that Phoebe is saying her name as if it's some kind of weird sound.
Why does she keep making that
Noise.
noise? Oh, it's a man, this is a funny one. Like
Good.
there's a the other thing that you kind of realize when they introduce Amy, going back to when they introduce Jill,
Mhm.
they said when Jill comes into town, they go, "Oh, is this the spoiled one or the one that bit her?" So then when Amy comes in, obviously, so much time has passed, but then
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, she's the one that bit her."
It makes sense. Like, I can
Yeah.
see it. I can see it.
Yep.
And she's so self-involved. It's amazing.
It's so fun just playing or just being that kind of character that they say what they want.
Yeah. It's
Also the B
great.
plot of the plates and the
Oh my
china.
God.
They build it up so well.
So well. It's also extremely relatable because my mom is all about plates and china and dishes. We literally probably have 8 boxes of dishes from like grandmother, great grandmother, my mom's dishes, my mom's other dishes, my mom's other dishes. All of them say do not unpack, keep fragile, like the whole thing. And like my mom has a hard time watching this episode because it hurts her on a personal level.
Yes, obviously when the plates spill at the end, I remember the first time I ever watched this episode, I was on a flight to the Philippines with my mom, and my mom was watching it, and she just like yelped in her seat, like on a flight, like ah!
Like it's in a personal horrible hit to the chest.
They did a great job of getting an audience, not like just like invested enough into that like
Yes.
plates thing. And Joey doesn't get a plate. Well, you're special,
Yeah, that means you win. Like, oh my God, so good. Okay, so what's your number 4?
Ross got high.
It is.
The
Ooh, it's not
season
even on
6.
my top 10. Ouch. Sorry. Keep going.
This is if you can sum up one popular Friends episode with one word, this is the trifle episode. I love Jack and Judy Geller so much. I think they're funny. I think Elliot Gould is just hilarious, and the way he delivers things is great. And just their combination put into the Friends, it's great. And I think I've said great way too much in that sentence. The circle of blame and realizations towards the end is what makes this episode funny to me. Just that's a lot to take.
30 seconds.
In 30 seconds. All right, like no, you weren't supposed to put the meat in the trifle. It did not taste good. And then I'm Phoebe, I'm sorry, but Jacques Cousteau is dead. Like, Joey, if you want to leave, just leave. Ross, like, drugs, divorce again. And then, Monica, if why did you have to hide this relationship? And Chandler, they hated Chandler, now they love Chandler. And just it's so funny to me. I love bottle episodes because it's really family dynamics in a small enclosed space, and they did it so well in that episode. And I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say. There are 2 lines in that episode that sell it for me, and the first one is Chandler, trying to endear himself to Jack. He goes, "Oh, it's like, is it snowing out there?" And then Jack's just, "No." Like, no matter what he says, it's already they're in a bad mood. And the other one was such a throwaway line. It's, oh my gosh, like the pages of the cookbook are stuck together, and then Joey goes, "Chandler," and it's such a dirty joke, and they were able to like slip it in under the radar. I just thought that was so hilarious, and so it's like just subtle fun.
No, it's really funny. It just didn't make it into my top 10. But yeah, it's funny because it's like it's one of those iconic episodes that anybody who knows about Friends usually knows about the trifle. It's just such perfection. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good. Even just like she's cooking the butter and she's like, so when is it done? About 2 minutes before it looks like that. Okay, so my number 3 is the one with Phoebe's dad, where
We
she
have totally different ones. I've
I
just got to say,
I
I,
love it.
I know. I'm like, I'm looking at my list and I'm like, is she gonna say it? Okay. But anyways, tell me about the one with Phoebe's dad.
Okay. So Phoebe discovers that her dad is actually not a tree surgeon. And that he doesn't live in a village. He disappeared a really long time ago. And she has all of these photo albums with like a guy that's actually like a stock model, just doing different things. The idea of that is so genius and so heartbreaking at the same time. I can't get over that little detail. It's so smart. I don't know. I'm picturing the grandma at like TJ Maxx or something, and she sees this stock model in like 3 different photos, and she's like, perfect. There's a dog, there's fishing, there's Christmas. Like what? It's so genius. Anytime that Phoebe's dad comes up, no matter what everyone else is doing, they really do like stop and completely support her with everything. Like Joey and Rachel go with her. No, wait. No, that's a different episode. Joey and Chandler go with her. Hello. And they're with her all day long, and they don't have their presents for Christmas. Again, the iconic line that I said a little bit ago was like, it's Christmas Eve. What are you going to do? Don't you have to be claymation to say stuff like that? Like, oh my God, so funny. And then I love all the gifts that they end up getting at the gas station, like toilet
Yes.
seat covers, a lemon lime. Like,
It's so funny. That's an episode I actually don't watch often, if at all, because it's not one that I gravitate to. So it's cool hearing your take on it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll rewatch it. Let's see if my number 3 is on your list.
I'm excited.
The one with Chandler in a box.
Yes, that's my number 2.
Okay. Okay. So okay, cool.
Yay.
That's good. Then we can just kind of talk about them together.
Perfect.
What I liked about this episode was Matthew Perry. You don't have to see him for him to be funny.
Yes.
He's funny.
Chandler is one of my favorite characters of all time. I love Matthew Perry. There was actually a time when I was about 11 when I was first really experiencing this show in like a binge type action, that I would mimic his lines. And it took me way too long to realize that they're actually really mean and not things that you should say out loud. But he is one of the funniest characters, I will say, on all of TV. Like, his timing is so amazing. And just like you said, you don't have to see him. You see his fingers more than you do anything else of him in this episode. And it's completely excellent.
Yeah, even at the beginning too, which does get cut down for syndication, but when he's just trying to call Joey, like, that's funny too. The build up, like, hey, win. What? And what is the name of your best friend who
is very, very sorry? Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. And the other thing with the B plot of Secret Santa, I just think that's also funny.
And I love that Rachel has kept something from the museum. We actually have people looking for this. You're not supposed to take these. Like, oh my God, it's so good.
And the thing for me with that, it's just, that's such a Secret Santa thing where you're not supposed to tell other people who you have, but sometimes it just inevitably comes up. So that was your number 2.
Yeah. So what's your number 2?
The one with all the football.
That's my number 1. Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes. Yes, finally.
Yes.
This one is so good.
So good.
The only thing though, the Maha, her accent is not Dutch, but
no, it definitely is not.
But of all the things, that's not what I'm gonna die on the hill of. But it's funny, just Rachel not being able to catch things.
It's an iconic episode. It's kind of, you said it earlier, bottle episodes are one of the best things that ever happens on this show. And I think that one is possibly the best bottle episode because we change locations, which just really makes it so much more interesting. Like this huge field that we never see again, which is totally fine. We don't need to. We experienced everything we need to there. And there's so many good jokes. Like even when Rachel says, hey, isn't there like a national football league? And Phoebe's like, oh yeah, there is. And then, I think it's Chandler says like, oh, they play on Monday nights. And she goes, oh shoot, I work Monday nights.
I work Monday nights.
Oh my God. It's so good.
funny. And then you're like, losers walk, losers talk. No, losers rhyme. Like it's
Yeah.
the Monica Ross competitive streak is apparent throughout the whole series, but this one was such an early on just how competitive they were. You know, I had swollen glands and just
Big fat grandma arm in my face.
they're so competitive, and yet the rest of the friends just see a troll doll nailed to a 2x4, but they just want to have fun because it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We've got this much time before I have to baste again, just like the pros. So, oh, it's so fun. And
I love that Joey and Chandler are competing for the same girl. I feel like we don't see that enough. And I'm glad that we don't, because I feel like if we saw it any more times, it would be a problem because they're so close. It would just wouldn't work well. But I love when we do get to see, like, how would they even approach this? Like, how do they decide? And then it really ultimately comes down to she decides, and then she picks no one, which is so fantastic.
Yep.
I don't blame her after seeing their behavior.
Well, Joey gave Chandler math.
Yeah.
Math. You're giving me math?
You're giving me math. Also, I love a backwards hat moment on Chandler. I love that Joey is wearing a jersey. It just hits all my boxes of like random things that like normally only like frat boys would wear, but like as long as it's not on a frat boy, I enjoy it. I can't explain that.
Other thing too with that is, you know, originally they were picking teams and Rachel got picked last. And she, you know, there's every last, like there goes every bit of self-respect I have or dignity. And then, you know, when it becomes girls versus boys, you know, Phoebe's not afraid to flash Chandler to steal the ball. So it's funny.
So what's really funny is that is actually Phoebe. This episode is the very first episode I ever saw. I don't know what year I saw it, but I know that I had like waken up in the middle of the night and gone to my parents' room, and they were watching it in, I guess, like before they went to sleep. So probably a rerun or some kind. Phoebe flashes Chandler, and my dad says to me, never, ever do that. And I was like, I had no idea what was going on. Like way too young to understand anything other than she lifted her shirt. So like I had no context, but I vividly remember seeing Phoebe do that and hearing my dad say, never, ever do that. Okay. So I haven't.
That's good. That's good. Especially when you play football. Never, ever do that.
I don't know. Especially if it's cold outside. That just sounds dangerous. It snows later in the episode. That is cold.
And they're still out there holding the football. Like some say to this day, they're still out there holding the football. And here's a good segue. My number one is the first Friends episode I ever saw. Well, not ever saw. Ooh. That's a lie. Because I watched it randomly, like, you know, and I couldn't tell you what is the first Friends episode I ever saw. Let me rephrase that. This is the first Friends episode I downloaded from iTunes back in the day to put on my iPod video.
Ooh, okay.
Some person is like, wait, they made iPod videos? Yes.
Oh, they did.
They did. It was a thing. And this one, my episode is the one with the rumor with Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Which I guess I alluded to when I said yams.
Yes.
And yams. I was reading through like Us Weekly or something, and it was like right through the Brad and Jen divorce, and I was reading like a timeline of their relationship, and it said Brad Pitt guest starred on Friends, and he put a bunch of roses in her trailer with the words "I love my wife," and I was like, wait, he was on Friends? What? And this was before Netflix, this was before HBO Max, so I can't watch anything. So how am I going to see this episode that Brad Pitt was on? I'm going to buy it on iTunes. That was my, like, the episode that I just always had with me. Like my Thanksgiving pants.
I love it. Your Thanksgiving pants.
And admittedly, I don't have much nostalgic value with it. It was just when you said holiday episodes, this one was the first one that came to mind because I would always watch it because it was always on my iPod. And you get to see Brad Pitt, and you know, in the knowing at the time they were married, they were in love, and he plays her mortal enemy. And that said, I do think, you know, this episode does, you know, it doesn't age well with transphobia and everything.
A lot of things.
And
Yeah.
yes, with a lot of things like that. And I acknowledge that. And I'm saying that now because the rumor is that Rachel
Had a teeny weeny.
had a teeny weeny. I was
That's
like,
how they say it in the episode.
that's how they say it in the episode. And there are some funny parts with it. You know, the rumor clearly spread. It was successful because Chandler goes, "Oh my God, you were the hermaphrodite cheerleader from Long Island." So, you know, it just shows that rumors can spread and the internalized phobia was real at the time. And now, like, why is this my number one? No, it is my number one just because that's when you said holiday, this was the first one that instantly came to mind. Is it a good episode? No. In the context of the world now, it would not age very well. Their marriage is done. He is like Ross with 2 divorces.
I mean, I hate Brad Pitt. So this is not on my top 10.
You hate Brad Pitt and complex carbohydrates. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, come on, Will, just take your shirt off and tell us. Phoebe.
I was obsessed with Brad Pitt in the early 2000s. Like, you know, I can say that. I was totally obsessed with him. Troy, bad movie. Watched it. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, not so great movie. Watched it. Anything where he like walked and talked, you know, Interview with a Vampire, Meet Joe Black, watched it. You know, because that was the thing. So
yeah.
And I think, did that also influence all of like me reading Us Weekly to read about the divorce? Probably. And here we are now in 2022, the year of our Lord and Savior, talking about this episode. So
then I guess I can be thankful for Brad Pitt in one aspect, that you found your love of Friends. Because when you said Jordan and I like Friends, I was like, whoa, massive understatement.
In hindsight now, it was like ranking the holiday episodes. I shouldn't have done what just instantly came to mind because but
no, I think that makes sense though, because it's like,
because it's a gut reaction.
Yes, exactly. I would say the top 4 were my gut reaction. And then I kind of like rearranged them a little bit, but I mean, I pretty much knew which ones were my tops. So
that's true. Yeah. Because when literally you said it, I'm like, oh, the Brad Pitt one.
It's pretty good because like she's against poultry. So Joey is going to eat the entire turkey by himself. And she's like, a 29-pound turkey. And he's like, oh my God, that's like me when I was born. And
there are some good moments in that
very good
episode. No, I love Friends. I love competing in Friends trivia. I will say now it's like, I'm like, is it my favorite TV show? It used to be. It's my comfort sitcom. And you know, it's funny, Brian actually asked me, he said, what do you think is the best sitcom ever made? And I didn't even say Friends. I said, oh, Frasier, hands down.
Wow. I don't think I've ever actually seen enough of Frasier to agree. So
it's very witty, and I like witty. No, I think to me that's, if I had to pick, I'd be like, oh yeah, Frasier. And he was like, you didn't pick Friends? I said, no, like I love Friends. Don't get me wrong. I really I can talk about it.
So when I think of sitcoms, there's only so many things that come to mind. And I mean, my brain just goes, nah, Friends. So for me, it stands the test of time, not because it like is right about everything. There are a lot of things that really don't make sense, or just don't age well, like we talked about with certain episodes. It just keeps being funny. And I think that's really, and makes me cry over and over again, like all those things. Like I cry every single time Rachel finds out she really is pregnant in the bathroom at Monica's wedding. I was crying when I didn't even think that I would ever want to be pregnant or a mom or any of those things. Like I'm not a baby person, and I still cried. Like, oh yeah. So
I think it does have a timelessness to it, and it had this ability to just really cement itself as like a sitcom of the 90s. And you know, it walked so many other sitcoms could run. You know, listen to my sitcom episode, season 2 opener for more on that.
Heck yeah.
Maybe that's just where I am at my time in my life. I'm like, oh no, like I love Friends, don't get me wrong. Like I have the poster. I can do Friends trivia as a team of 1 and get top 5 consistently. But I'm like, no, right now I'm like, have I even finished Frasier? I'll shamelessly say no, I haven't. But I'm like, it's to the point where I'm actually like, I love it that I'm scared for it to end. So I don't want to finish it. I'd say, okay, here, my final
Yeah.
thought is holiday episodes are hit or miss. And then
Mm,
clearly we approach holiday episodes differently.
yeah.
And like our reasonings behind them were very different. Sometimes I don't like holiday episodes because I feel like they're just like a checklist that a TV show feels the need to have.
Yes.
So they can show it during a certain time period or
Mm-hmm.
season, a certain season, like, or yeah, no, time period also works. Friends obviously had to do a lot of them for 10 seasons, for whether it was Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, and some of them were really good, which we talked about. Some of them we didn't even mention. So,
Yeah. I would definitely agree with you that especially with sitcoms, holiday episodes are hit or miss. There was a huge trend in the 90s of a like neighborhood Christmas light contest sort of situation. And that plot was on so many different sitcoms that it feels like the same episode with just slightly different characters. I'm so glad that the only time we ever did anything with Christmas lights on Friends is Rachel breaking her, well, like spraining her ankle because she was hanging from them. And it wasn't even Christmas time because she was supposed to have taken them down a long time ago. I love that they do different things with Christmas, like the Hanukkah episode or having a New Year's episode instead. Or even just that they usually do hit Thanksgiving in a different way every time. That's just really nice. Like we don't have the whole, oh, everybody's families are getting together. It's truly where like Friendsgiving began. It also makes me wonder every single
yeah.
time. I'm like, how is Joey's mom not upset about this, that he's not at home? But I'm going to let it slide.
Should I start rapping?
Don't rap like the music, but you can definitely wrap it up like a present.
Well, this was another joint episode of stuff I didn't write my dissertation on, and let's rewatch it again. Emily will be back soon. Don't worry, she's not gone.
Not
I didn't
forever.
like she's not buried in my backyard or anything. No, she'll be back soon. She's just enjoying her holidays. We are on Instagram at stuff I didn't write. Drop us a line at stuffididn'twrite@gmail.com. Right now, it is December. We will stop our United Help Ukraine fundraiser on our coffee page in January. So that will run until January 31st. We have another fundraiser for Ukraine coming up. So stay tuned for that. It rhymes with stickers. Oh no, it is stickers, guys. That's it. That's the word. It's stickers. So stay tuned for that. The stickers are in my house somewhere. That's a good question. Where are they? That's the Christmas mystery of this household. That's it for me. Jordan, what's your plug your pluggables?
For both of our podcasts, rate, review, follow it, subscribe it, however that works, wherever you're listening. You can find me on Instagram at Let's Rewatch It Again. And we do have a YouTube channel, Let's Rewatch It Again podcast. You can also send requests, reviews, questions, comments, or, get mad about Brad Pitt with me at my email address at letsrewatchitagain@gmail.com. Or you can tell me why he's amazing and why Kyra is right. I mean, that is totally fine. I won't believe you, but it's cool.
You might get an email from 2005 Kyra, who somehow got in a time machine, and she's going to be really upset.
Okay.
But
you know
it's okay,
what?
29-year-old Kyra is fine. This has been an episode of Stuff I Didn't Write My Dissertation On. And let's rewatch it again. I'm Kyra. That's Jordan. We'll catch you next time. Class dismissed. Bye.
Catch you on the flippity flip.